Let's start with first law of power without further ado. Law 1. Never outshine the master. Imagine a brilliant young courtier serving under a powerful king. He is intelligent, charming, and ambitious. Wanting to prove his worth, he organizes an extravagant festival, displaying his wealth, knowledge, and influence. The people are in awe, whispering about his growing power. However, instead of earning the king's favor, he unknowingly seals his fate. The king, feeling overshadowed and insecure, begins to see him as a rival rather than a loyal subject. Not long after, the courtier is accused of treason and imprisoned for life. This is not just a fictional tale. It actually happened to Nicolas Fouquet, a minister under King Louis XIV of France. Fouquet was an incredibly talented administrator, but his mistake was making himself appear too grand. In an attempt to impress the king, he held a lavish event at his estate, featuring fine arts, elaborate performances, and extravagant displays of wealth. His intentions were to secure a higher position in the government, but instead, Louis XIV perceived him as a threat. Seeing Fouquet's growing power as a danger to his own authority, the king had him arrested and imprisoned for life. This story teaches a crucial lesson. Never make those in power feel inferior. When someone holds authority over you, whether a king, a boss, or a leader, your success should never make them feel small or replaceable. If they begin to believe you are more capable than they are, they might act against you, not out of fairness, but out of fear. The danger of overshadowing those in power throughout history. People have suffered not because they were incompetent, but because they were too competent in the presence of a powerful figure. Those in authority often have fragile egos. They do not just want to be respected, they want to feel superior. If you take the spotlight too often, if your intelligence, skill, or charm makes them feel lesser, they will view you as a threat. At the workplace, this law is as relevant as in a royal court. Imagine an employee who is highly efficient, always coming up with brilliant ideas, and delivering excellent results. If they constantly outshine their boss in meetings, correct their mistakes in public, or take credit without acknowledging their superior's role, resentment will build. Instead of being rewarded for their skills, they might find themselves overlooked for promotions or, worse, pushed out of the company. This is not about suppressing your abilities. It is about presenting them wisely. You must gauge the personality of the person in charge. Some leaders appreciate talent and reward it. Others feel threatened by it. If your superior falls into the latter category, you must be strategic. How to apply this law wisely? 1. Make your superiors look good. If you have a great idea, subtly give credit to your superior. Phrase your success as part of their leadership. Instead of saying, "I came up with this solution," say, "Under your guidance, I was able to develop a new approach." This makes them feel valued rather than threatened. 2. Avoid showing off too much. If you are exceptionally skilled, don't reveal all your talents at once. Unfold them gradually and in a way that benefits your superior, not just yourself. 3. Let them take the credit sometimes. It may feel unfair, but allowing your superior to claim some credit can strengthen your position. If they see you as someone who enhances their power rather than threatens it, they will support you rather than oppose you. 4. Know when to step back. There are moments when humility is more powerful than confidence. If your boss is speaking about an idea you already thought of, let them take the stage. Your time will come, and it's better to be seen as a team player than a competitor. 5. Be subtle with your intelligence. If you must correct someone in power, do it in private. Never embarrass them publicly, as wounded pride can turn into vengeance. The balance between competence and caution. Does this mean you should never be ambitious or showcase your talents? Not at all. The key is to balance your brilliance with tact and humility. You should still strive for success, but in a way that does not threaten those above you. For instance, consider historical figures who played their cards wisely. Instead of directly challenging authority, they worked within the system, slowly gaining influence until they were in a position of power themselves. They understood that power is not just about being the best, it's about making those in power feel secure enough to let you rise. Final thought: power is about perception in the end. Power is not just about competence, it is about perception. No matter how skilled or intelligent you are, if those in power see you as a threat, they will work against you. By being mindful of how you present yourself, by making others feel secure rather than inferior, you can protect yourself and continue rising without unnecessary resistance. So, the next time you find yourself in the presence of authority, ask yourself, am I shining too brightly, or am I making those in power feel comfortable enough to let me rise? Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. Imagine a young ruler, eager to secure his throne. He surrounds himself with trusted friends, believing they will always have his best interests at heart. Among them is his childhood companion, someone he has shared secrets and dreams with. He grants this friend a high position, believing loyalty will keep his kingdom safe. But as time passes, the friend grows comfortable, then greedy, and finally, resentful. One night, in the very palace where he was given power, he betrays the ruler, driven not by necessity, but by the ease with which familiarity turns into contempt. This is a story that has played out countless times throughout history. Friends are bound by emotion, not obligation. Their loyalty is often fragile, easily shaken by jealousy, pride, or a shift in power. When given too much trust, they can become the greatest threats. The unpredictability of friends start with good intentions, but the more they are favored, the more entitled they feel. They may expect special treatment, and when they don't receive it, resentment festers. A friend who was once grateful can easily turn bitter when they feel they deserve more. Unlike enemies, whose hostility is predictable, a friend-turned-traitor strikes unexpectedly, making him far more dangerous. One of the best historical examples of this law is the story of Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte and Jean-Baptiste Bernadotte. Napoleon trusted Bernadotte, considering him a loyal ally. He gave him high ranks in the French army, believing he would always support him. But as soon as Bernadotte saw an opportunity, he turned against Napoleon, joining the enemies of France and later becoming the King of Sweden, one of Napoleon's greatest rivals. Why enemies can be more useful than friends. While friends often betray out of emotion, enemies act out of strategy. A former enemy who has been given a position of power works harder to prove their loyalty, not out of love, but out of necessity. They know that one mistake could cost them everything. Unlike friends, who take your kindness for granted, enemies are always aware of the cost of betrayal. Throughout history, rulers and leaders have turned former enemies into trusted allies. Abraham Lincoln, for example, filled his government with political rivals, understanding that their ambition would drive them to work harder than any friend. Joseph Stalin, despite being ruthless, understood the value of keeping former enemies close, knowing they would be more cautious and loyal than old allies who might grow too comfortable. How to apply this law in everyday life. 1. Be cautious with friends in business and power. The closer a friend is to your position, the more dangerous they can become. Avoid mixing deep friendship with authority, as emotions often distort loyalty. 2. Test loyalty before trusting fully. Never assume that a friend will remain loyal simply because of history. Loyalty should be proven through actions, not just words. 3. Use former enemies wisely. If someone once opposed you but now seeks an alliance, consider their potential value. They will often work harder to prove themselves than a friend who expects favors. 4. Keep a balance between distance and friendship. You don't need to abandon all friendships, but always maintain a degree of separation. Trust should be earned, not freely given. 5. Turn rivalry into motivation. If an enemy is talented and determined, it may be smarter to bring them into your circle rather than let them plot against you from the outside. The delicate balance of trust and power. The truth is, power is lonely. Those who rise too high on the strength of friendships often fall when those friendships sour. A wise leader or strategist understands that trust is not something to be given blindly. Friends should be treated with kindness, but not with excessive dependence. Enemies, on the other hand, should not be dismissed outright. Their ambitions, if redirected, can serve a greater purpose. Final thought: trust is a weapon. Use it wisely. Blind trust in friends can be a fatal mistake, while a properly managed enemy can become your greatest asset. The key is to control loyalty rather than expect it. Instead of assuming that friendship guarantees safety, ask yourself: who has something to prove? Who fears losing what they've gained? And who, if given power, would have no reason to betray me? Those who answer these questions wisely will never be caught off guard by betrayal. Law 3. Conceal your intentions. In a grand court filled with whispers and shifting alliances, a cunning advisor moves unnoticed. He speaks in riddles, never revealing his true desires. When asked about his goals, he smiles and gives vague answers, leaving others guessing. Those who try to predict his next move are always a step behind. By the time they understand his true intentions, it is too late. He has already won. This is the power of secrecy. When others cannot read your mind, they cannot stop your plans. Those who openly declare their intentions invite resistance, jealousy, and sabotage. But those who cloak the true goals in misdirection and mystery remain untouchable. Why open intentions invite trouble? Humans are naturally suspicious. When someone openly shares their ambitions, people either try to block them out of fear or compete to reach the goal first. History is filled with stories of leaders, warriors, and thinkers who failed because they revealed their hand too soon. Take Napoleon Bonaparte, a military genius who often used deception to confuse his enemies. Before attacking, he would send false reports, misleading spies into thinking he was retreating or heading elsewhere. By the time his true strategy was understood, he had already crushed his opponents. On the other hand, consider Julius Caesar's downfall. He openly sought absolute power in Rome, making his ambition clear. This alarmed the Senate, who plotted against him. If he had concealed his true aim under the illusion of serving the Republic, he might have avoided betrayal. The power of misdirection. A wise strategist never tells the full truth. Instead, they give misleading hints, creating confusion while quietly advancing their true plans. By keeping people uncertain, they avoid resistance and eliminate competition before it begins. One of history's greatest examples of misdirection was Otto von Bismarck, the mastermind behind German unification. He pretended to be a humble diplomat, never openly declaring his goal of a united Germany. Instead, he manipulated conflicts between other European powers, allowing Germany to grow stronger in the shadows. When the time was right, he struck, and the world was caught off guard. How to apply this law in everyday life? 1. Speak less than necessary. The more you say, the easier it is for others to understand your thoughts and intentions. By keeping your words controlled, you remain unpredictable. 2. Give people false signals. If you don't want people interfering with your plans, mislead them. If you want a promotion, pretend not to care about it. If you're working on a big project, act as if it's insignificant. This keeps others from trying to block your success. 3. Hide your ultimate goal behind smaller ones. Instead of declaring your biggest ambition, create distractions. If you want power, act as though you seek peace. If you want wealth, pretend you're interested in charity. This way, your true path remains hidden. 4. Never reveal all your knowledge. If people know everything you know, they can predict your moves. Keep a part of your knowledge private, ensuring that others always wonder what you might do next. 5. Use misdirection to gain advantage. In business, relationships, and negotiations, Keeping your real motives hidden allows you to maneuver freely without opposition. Surprise is a powerful weapon. The balance between secrecy and trust while concealing your intentions is powerful. It must be done wisely. If you become too secretive, people may grow suspicious or distrustful. The key is to mix truth with deception, giving just enough information to appear open while keeping your real purpose hidden. Final thought: the power of mystery. A person who reveals too much becomes predictable and weak. A person who conceals their intentions becomes a mystery, someone others cannot control or oppose. The greatest victories are won not through brute force, but through silence, patience, and strategic misdirection. So ask yourself, do people know too much about your plans? If so, how can you make them see only what you want them to see? Law 4. Always say less than necessary. In the court of Louis XIV, the Sun King of France, words were like daggers. Too many could wound the speaker more than the listener. A nobleman, eager to impress, once rambled endlessly before the king, explaining his ideas in unnecessary detail. Louis, known for his reserved nature, merely stared at him in silence. The nobleman, growing nervous, kept talking, hoping to fix his mistake. But the more he spoke, the less impressive he seemed. When he finally stopped, the king simply responded, "Too many words reveal too much." The lesson was clear. Powerful people do not waste words. They use silence and brevity as tools of control. Those who talk excessively often reveal more than they intend, weakening their position. But those who say little, and speak only when necessary, create an aura of mystery and authority. The danger of saying too much: the more you speak, the more likely you are to expose your weaknesses. Words can betray emotions, hidden fears, and personal ambitions. In negotiations, excessive talking gives your opponent insight into your thoughts, making you easier to manipulate. History is full of figures who destroyed themselves by saying too much. Napoleon Bonaparte, despite being a brilliant military strategist, was known for his endless talking. His unfiltered words often insulted or alienated his allies, leading to betrayals and opposition. In contrast, leaders like Abraham Lincoln and Winston Churchill mastered the art of speaking carefully, saying only what was needed and keeping their real thoughts hidden. The power of silence. Silence creates an air of mystery. When people cannot predict your thoughts, they become unsure of how to approach you. This gives you power. A quiet person commands more respect than one who speaks too freely. Take J.P. Morgan, the legendary banker. He was known for saying very little in meetings, letting others reveal their intentions while he remained unreadable. When he finally spoke, his words carried weight, because they were rare and well chosen. How to apply this law in daily life. 1. Let others reveal themselves first. In conversations, negotiations, and arguments, let the other person speak more. The more they talk, the more they reveal about their thoughts, weaknesses, and strategies. 2. Use silence as a weapon. When someone expects a response, pause instead. This creates discomfort and forces them to reconsider their position. Sometimes, saying nothing at all is more powerful than any argument. 3. Choose words carefully. Instead of speaking in long, drawn-out sentences, make your words precise and impactful. A well-placed sentence is more powerful than 100 rambling ones. 4. Do not explain yourself unnecessarily. People who talk too much often feel the need to explain their actions. This weakens their position. If you make a decision, let it stand without over-explaining. Confidence is silent. Insecurity is loud. 5. Control the conversation. By speaking less, you force others to fill the silence. This gives you control, as they struggle to guess what you're thinking while revealing more about themselves. Balancing silence and communication while speaking less is powerful. It must be used wisely. Being completely silent can make you seem distant, untrustworthy, or uninterested. The key is balance. Speak only when necessary, but when you do, make your words count. Final thought: the strength of restraint. Imagine two warriors, one who shouts before battle, revealing his fears, and another who stands in silence, watching his opponent. Who seems stronger? Who holds the power? The one who speaks less controls the situation. Restraint in words is not just a tactic, it is a form of power. So before you speak, ask yourself, is what I'm about to say necessary, or am I just filling the silence? Law 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. In the cutthroat world of Renaissance Italy, a man's reputation was more valuable than gold. Cesare Borgia, the cunning and ruthless son of Pope Alexander VI, understood this better than anyone. His reputation as a fearless and merciless leader made his enemies tremble before him. Even when he was outnumbered, his opponents hesitated, not because of his armies, but because of his name. Yet, reputation is as fragile as glass. One well-placed rumor, one careless mistake, and the empire of respect built over years can shatter overnight. A strong reputation grants influence, while a tarnished one invites attack. The power of reputation. Your reputation precedes you. It shapes how people treat you before you even speak. A person known for reliability is trusted, a person known for dishonesty is watched, and a person known for weakness is targeted. In battle, business, and social life, a good reputation acts as a shield, protecting you from unnecessary conflicts. Consider John D. Rockefeller, one of the wealthiest men in history. His reputation for discipline and ruthless efficiency made competitors fear him. Even when he didn't act, rumors of his power made others hesitate. He carefully crafted an image of stability, avoiding scandals and ensuring that his name remained untouchable. The danger of a damaged reputation. A single scandal can ruin decades of respect. Julius Caesar's reputation for mercy made Rome love him, but whispers of ambition and tyranny sealed his fate. His enemies didn't need proof. Just the rumor that he sought to become king was enough for his assassination. In modern times, politicians, celebrities, and business leaders often fall not because of their actions, but because of the perception of their actions. A CEO accused of corruption, even without evidence, might lose their company overnight. A leader rumored to be weak will soon find their authority questioned. How to protect your reputation. 1. Be mindful of every action. Every decision you make contributes to the image people hold of you. Thank you for watching Education Hub. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more educational content. Stay curious, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next video.